Yo, what's good guys? It's Nightwing2303 from WearTesters.com. Today we got the performance review on these guys right here. This is the Under Armour Curry 302. These things were nearly perfect. Starting off with the traction as usual, look at it, man. Just look at it. This stuff is aggressive. It's everywhere. It's multi-directional. It's fantastic. Indoors, outdoors, clean court, dirty court, really didn't matter. The traction on the Curry 302 is phenomenal. I'm not sure why Under Armour is the only brand that takes traction seriously, but for some reason, that's kind of what it feels like. If you're looking for traction, traction is the most important thing to you. Under Armour basketball shoes typically have it. Now the cushion is the same as it was on the original 3.0, which is a Micro G midsole carrier with a charged puck in the heel. What I mean by puck, it's just a little foam Again, same exact setup as the original Curry 3.0. However, these don't feel exactly the same. These actually feel closer to what I wish the Curry 4s felt like. Now don't get me wrong, the Curry 4s were awesome. They were super low profile as far as the midsole and where it sat on the floor, so you had like unlimited court feel on those guys, but they didn't have any real cushion. These guys do have that. So if you're looking for court feel without sacrificing that cushion that a lot of players do like, not every player, but a lot of players do, this is one of those shoes that's gonna take care of you. Now the heel area of the shoe definitely looks a little bit chunky. It doesn't feel that way, but I know how it looks and it does look a little thick. And then when you put the shoe on, you can definitely feel where it starts to taper into that forefoot. And right at the tip of the toe, you almost feel like it's just you, the rubber, and the floor. Like it kind of feels interesting. Not in a bad way, it just feels like yo, like I'm ready to go. But again, everything else has cushion. Like you got cushion underneath the ball of your foot, you got it underneath the heel of your foot. It's a great setup, I gotta say. I wish that Under Armour would do this more often. Now it does not feel like original Micro G, which is extremely bouncy. It does have a little bit of firmness to it, so it's a little bit more stable, but it's Micro G nonetheless, so it is better than standard EVA. But all in all, if you're looking for that balanced ride as a guard, like you want stability, you want court feel, but you don't want to give up cushion for those things, this is one of those shoes that's going to provide that for you. Now the materials on these are pretty interesting. When I was doing the write-up for these, I was writing like how they feel like you're wearing a wetsuit, but they don't feel like neoprene. And then I went over to underarmour.com because I was like, I actually wonder what they're calling this material, because I didn't know what it was, you know what I mean? Like it's not nubuck and it's not leather. It's not a synthetic material of those two things. And again, it's not neoprene, so I was kind of like, what the hell is this stuff? And what they're calling it, I should have looked it up though, because I forgot. And what they're actually calling it is molded maxprene, which is like, it's like a weird way to say this is some like really gnarly neoprene. Again, it doesn't feel like neoprene. Neoprene has a very specific feel to it. These guys mimic the feel or fit of neoprene, but it does not actually feel like neoprene. I hope I'm confusing myself, man. I'm sorry. All I know is that when you finally get your foot in there, these things fit like a glove. It's awesome. And then the tongue and the midfoot area are basically a stretch mesh material that look like a woven material, but it's just a stretch mesh. It feels great on foot. It doesn't hurt or anything like that. This guy right here, I will say, feels closer to like the next evolution of the Curry. So if you're moving from the 4 to the 5, this feels like it should have been the 5 to me personally. It's crazy to think that this is just their $100 like entry-level shoe, because these played and feel like way better than that actually sounds. Now the fit is true to size, but because of that material, they fit very snug. They fit one-to-one with your foot, and that's exactly how they're meant to be, because these guys are missing a little something right here in the back. We'll talk about that later, but you need these things to fit you one-to-one, otherwise they're not going to work out for you, which is actually just like the Curry 4, which is not surprising. Wide footers, again, they're snug, so this just might not be a shoe for you. This might be one of those times when you just got to skip these guys and go on to something that actually fits your foot shape, because going up half a size, you're going to sacrifice that support, and that's not going to be a good thing. The overall lockdown is solid. I didn't have any real issues. The lacing system is kind of strange. You see that it wraps around the shoe. It literally goes all the way around. It's kind of weird, and it's this nylon strand thing that, again, wraps around the whole shoe. Took a minute just to kind of like get used to it, because once you break the shoe in, you do have to readjust your laces to tighten yourself in there. And once you figure out that perfect tightness, you're solid, man. Like these things were awesome. Now, as far as support, they have everything except for one thing. And I do feel like the one thing that they're missing is one of the most important things that you can have in a shoe. And that's a heel counter. There is legitimately no heel counter. I've never ever seen that before in a basketball shoe, that I could remember at least. Now, luckily for me, I never rolled off of the actual footbed. Like I said, that fit is really what will determine the overall support for these guys, because it relies on itself. itself. There is this tiny little lip right here in the midsole that does help prevent your foot from rolling over the footbed, but it's not anything substantial, at least not in my opinion. I really would have wished that they used something in here, whether it be a small internal heel counter or a thin external heel counter, very similar to what we had on the Under Armour Curry 2s. I think that that actually would have been perfect for these guys. Would have kept the weight down, but it would have done its job well. Again, my foot never rolled off the footbed, but it's just one of those things where I feel like it just should have it. Heel containment right here is the reason for heel support and what people call ankle support. And without it being there, you are risking something, in my opinion at least. However, the rest of the support features were fantastic, especially at the lateral outrigger. This rubber area right here really cups up and around the midsole, so your foot does sit within this area right here, ensuring that you don't roll off of the forefoot of the footbed, which is fantastic if you're a forefoot heavy player, which is what I am. I'm not like a heavy stomper, but I ride on my forefoot the majority of the time, which is why I never had an issue with the heel. But again, if you hit like on somebody's foot, trip up or something, you never know what'll happen. You got to have a heel counter on there. And then that outrigger extends right here to the base, so much like the Curry 4, it's just very stable. I love it, especially if you're a shooter. You're gonna love these things. A heel counter, that's the one thing that they needed, man. That's the one thing that they needed, and this would have been one of the best shoes of the year. And that pretty much takes care of it for the Under Armour Curry 302 for $100. I mean, dude, that's a great price. I wish that more brands would kind of take note. I know that Under Armour kind of has to play that price point just because they can't demand, you know, the 140s, the 150s, the 160s. But we're talking about basketball here. We're talking about a sport where you will buy a product and then thrash it. It should not cost more than $100 or whatever, unless it's a signature. I feel like a signature can be like $150. But for its price and for the performance features and the performance overall, or the playability of the shoe that it offers, I feel like this is a great deal. Again, it just needs a heel counter. It's not going to affect every player, but it's one of those things that I just feel like should be in a shoe. There's no reason to not have it. But sound off below, let us know what you guys think about these down below in the comment section. If you've played in a pair, if you need more information, you can head over to WearTesters.com. Link is going to be in the description box. That's where you'll find their price, their weight, their score. Although I always say that, but the price is $100. Spoiler alert. But if you want to know everything else, go head over there, a little bit more detail within the write-up. And again, let us know what you guys think about these if you played in them. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. And until next time, guys, have a good one.